Hello and welcome. So, good morning, good evening, whatever time of day it is. I'm just glad that you're here, and happy Father's Day to all of those dads out there. Now, this past weekend, my husband and I went to Micanopy, and we traveled through some of the most beautiful areas in Central Florida. Horses, cows, acre after acre of beautiful Florida land, and even some rolling hills. But don't get too excited. Florida is not known for mountains. It does have some differing levels of elevation. Not everything is at or below sea level. We ended up in Gainesville at a hotel right in the heart of the medical part of UF. Even though I have lived in Florida for 20 years, I had not been to Gainesville, so it was a little bit of an adventure for me. Friday, we went to Micanopy with the purpose of exploring history, antiquing, and seeing some old stuff because that's what I'm into. They had recently been filming a movie there, and I was kind of hoping we might catch a glimpse of it. Now, keep in mind that Friday was a holiday. When we pulled into town on Friday morning, we went right to the old part of town. Now, I love history, so for me, I was hoping to see all of the things and experience some old Florida. But sadly, the one museum in town was closed because of the holiday. It was small and probably would have only taken about an hour to walk through. But the small museums are some of my favorites. I've grown up going to the Smithsonian's, and honestly, they don't hold a candle to some of these small local towns and their investment in their own area that they have. We stopped and ate some. Then we walked to the tiny downtown part, which consisted of a few stores on either side of the road with this like median in the middle that acted like almost like a town square. One funny story, I'll put a picture of the car in here, or the truck, but there was this old truck and my husband was like, take a picture. So I pulled out my phone and I took a picture really quick, and he drove into the side of town, and then he drove around. It wasn't even a block. It was just like 2 buildings down, turned the corner, came down the other side of the street, and parked in front of the little breakfast place. And we just laughed, but it was such a sweet reminder of old Florida, of old living, and I love it. I love those old cars and ways of life. Like I said, we ate some breakfast. We kind of sat around a little bit and kind of looked at some things. Everything was pretty much closed. There were benches and a few historical markers in that center median part. We'll get into the history shortly. I am in no way dissing this small town, but I have to admit I was disappointed, but probably not for the reasons you are thinking. My name is Beth Perdue. I'm your storyteller for today, and this is Forgotten Threads. Micanopy is a real forgotten thread, often referred to as the town time forgot. I know it sounds like a made-up AI title, but it's actually the town's official motto. Just before the intro, I mentioned I was disappointed. Let me explain. We live in a world where we are lied to constantly. Our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok feeds are filled with things that constantly make us question reality. My husband sends me videos and I have to tell him it's AI. My mother-in-law listens to another conspiracy theory, and although so many of these have come true, lizard people are not real. I have to draw a line somewhere in all of this. So when I start looking for a place to visit or where to go for a weekend trip, I go to the internet, and often an idea is sparked by some sort of person telling me how wonderful a place is. Sometimes I'm looking at TikTok or I'm looking at Instagram and I'm looking at these beautiful pictures and I'm like, where is this place? I need to find out where this place is. Micanopy was one such place. I don't think it was actually the town that disappointed me, but the hype that I was sold, the overly rose-colored glasses view of the city that made me disappointed. I was disappointed in the lie. Isn't that how we should be, though? We should be disappointed in the lie of something. Even I, who have become jaded to the wiles of the internet and social media, even I get sold a bill of goods sometimes. And I think I'm more annoyed with that than the shops being closed for a holiday, because honestly, if everything was open, it would have been a great day trip. Visit the museum, do some local shops, eat at Pearl's Barbecue, which was fantastic, by the way, and see a few of the town's unique features. I don't want to paint it as the next and best, greatest weekend-long vacation for you and your family. I think it does a disservice to the town and to your time. Now, let's talk about what there is and the history of the area, because that is where the beauty of truth is, and that is where the beauty of Florida is. While in the area, we stopped at an antique shop. The area is known for antique malls, and there are a lot of them. As someone who goes to a huge amount of antique places, they were overpriced, in my opinion. That part I will not shy away from. Things are only worth what someone will pay for them, and I won't pay $20 for a small photo postcard from 1920. I did find a small receipt from a general merchant store in McIntosh, Florida, not far from Micanopy. Here it is. Now, they're not made to last, so they are pretty delicate. And I love how they wrote back then. See the name of the place? Yep. Very cool. It reminded me of simpler times, of a time long ago when people fixed their own homes, worked their land, raised their own kids, and most food came from your garden or someone else's down the road. Life was hard. I won't paint it as perfect or romantic, but it was that generation that built what we all enjoy today. Micanopy was founded in 1821 and boasts itself as the oldest inland town in Florida. It sits just south of Gainesville near Payne's Prairie. Payne's Prairie is the vast basin marsh just south of Micanopy. It is one of the most historically layered landscapes in Florida. The naturalist William Bartram crossed it in 1774 and described it as the Great Alachua Savanna. And the broad, wet prairie has drawn people for far longer. It was the site of the Spanish cattle ranch known as Alachua in the 17th century. I'm pretty sure I'm mispronouncing that, but hang with me because it does play in here. It was among the largest in Spanish Florida and later took its modern name from the Seminole leader King Payne. Today, the 21,000-acre Payne's Prairie Preserve State Park, Florida's first state preserve, protects the basin and has restored herds of bison and wild horses. If you're into photography, this is a great place to visit. Beautiful views, massive amounts of huge gators, and the possibility of seeing some wild horses and bison. So pack some bug spray and be warned it is hot. Micanopy during the 1940s was on the other side of the economic boom. The economy around the area was overwhelmingly agricultural. Citrus groves and packing houses, vegetable fields, and cattle defined the landscape. Walking down the street in Micanopy, we saw remnants from the latest film that was being shot there. Doc Hollywood, which I have never seen, was actually the very first film that was filmed there. As you can see from the images, the town looks somewhat like a Western town in one section, kind of maybe a little Spanish. That middle section that I mentioned earlier that kind of looked like a town square or a small grassy median, well, it had a bunch of hedges in it and historical markers, but it also had some small benches for people to sit at and enjoy their day. There was an anchor that was in the center somewhere, and I know it was not that big, but somehow I could not find it. I knew about it not from the internet, but from actually a coloring book that I found at breakfast. We stopped to eat breakfast, like I mentioned earlier, and I picked up a coloring book that someone had done for the town, and it mentioned each one of the historical markers or the homes or buildings that were there, and the anchor was one of these. So I did not know where this anchor was. We stopped in a little log cabin that had local art displayed and asked where it was because I couldn't find it. The lady pointed out the window and said, "Well, I should know where it is. My granddaughter was just playing on it. It's on the other side of the hedge." Exactly where we found it, along with two other historical marker signs. Micanopy does have one huge mansion, the Herlong Mansion, which began as something far humbler than it appears today. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's one of the first things that you see on your drive into the downtown area, the old historic part. The original house was a simple two-story pine farmhouse built around 1845 by one of Micanopy's earliest settlers on what had once been a Native American trading route. That farmhouse belonged to the Simonton family, and when Natalie Simonton married Zeddy Clarence Herlong, who had relocated to Micanopy after his home and business in Alabama burned down, the couple settled into it. Herlong made his fortune in the local lumber industry, and that wealth funded the transformation. By 1910, the original farmhouse had been fully encased with a brick Greek Revival shell in the Southern colonial style, fronted by Corinthian columns and finished inside with leaded glass windows, wood paneling, and floors laid in oak, maple, and mahogany. The Herlongs raised 6 children there. After Natalie's death, Zeddy remarried and moved out of state, and the mansion sat vacant for decades before a couple bought it in 1980 and converted it into a bed and breakfast. It is now listed on the National Registry of Historic Places. We didn't stay there this time, but it looks beautiful from the outside. The Micanopy Historical Society Museum would have been first on my list of places to visit if it had been open. It holds newspaper clippings, family papers, photographs, and local writings. I would have spent some time there looking into firsthand accounts of Florida in these early 18 and 1900s. I love firsthand accounts. I think it is so important that we go back to the original sources, that we go back to the original people and see what they have to say about life back then. Now, talking of two people who were famous, who came from this particular area, we have two famous authors, and I know you have heard of at least one of these. There are two authors associated with this immediate area. Marjorie Kennan Rawlins. She is by far the most prominent. She lived at Cross Creek, minutes from both Micanopy and McIntosh, from 1928 until her death in 1953. And she wrote The Yearling, which won the Pulitzer Prize in 1939, along with Cross Creek in 1942 and South Moon Under. She's the central literary figure of this landscape, and her farmhouse is preserved as a state park. Now, the second author is Nora Zell Hurston. The second name usually paired with this region, Miss Hurston, the celebrated author of Their Eyes Were Watching God, was born in Alabama, but grew up in Eatonville, which is a whole other story. And if you don't know anything about Eatonville, head over to my TikTok page, and I did a very short little video of the basic history of Eatonville. Really interesting. She spent her final years in the area, dying in Fort Pierce in 1960. She's most tied to Central Florida rather than Alachua County specifically. In fact, you can visit Marjorie Kennan Rawlins' Cracker Farmhouse at Cross Creek. Talk about seeing something firsthand, seeing a building, listening to people's writings, reading their words. Well, we come up with these houses, and houses are kind of, they're hit or miss. A lot of times people buy houses and that are old, and they redo them, and they're just nothing like the original house. Well, this particular house was actually kept at its original form with all of its original furniture and things inside. As I looked at this receipt, I thought about the homes people were living in. Florida is hot and always has been. That has not changed. But they designed the homes in ways that allowed for maximum airflow. The houses were built up off the ground with giant porches from one side to the other. Family life happened a lot outside, sitting on the front porch, talking, prepping vegetables and sewing, spending time together, the kids playing. All of those things happened on the front porch. Furniture was made and sourced from local wood supplies. We have lost a lot of these abilities to fend for ourselves. And when I was looking at this receipt, one of the things listed was sandpaper. And I thought, what a normal, everyday sort of thing. How many times a day do I need sandpaper? Maybe not every day, but I use sandpaper a lot. I enjoy doing things with my hands, and I think we need to get back to that. These are things I want you to know and have a desire to learn more about the real life instead of the Instagram model. I don't want you to sit through life and be lied to constantly. History is important, and seeing these places and valuing them for what they are is also important. You want history and old, quiet Florida? Well, Micanopy is the place for you. If I ever was in the process of writing a book, or if I just needed some quiet place to read and study for a week, I'd pick Micanopy. A lot of people are turned off by small towns because they think small towns have small minds. The idea of a small town makes people think about crooked police and someone always yelling at the kids to get off their lawn. But I'm more concerned with the accuracy and telling you about the real history. So, enjoy some of these beautiful photos, and if you decide to pass through at some point, take a long route. Take the route that gives you the roadside attraction, that maybe has that historical marker that's off to the side that everyone misses. Slow down, take the slow route, and enjoy the views.